Welcome to the Archotechs, a RimWorld fluid ideology series about pursuing the Archonexus. Episode 9, Primacy. To quickly recap last episode, our goal was try to get the fabrication bench up and running, and we definitely did not achieve that goal. Instead, Bunny left the ancient dangers with a hoard of gold and plasteel, as well as some artifacts, and a legendary war story about calling down a tornado and smiting her enemies. This only exacerbates her ego. We also have been trying to convert these prisoners, and I did get a comment about that I would like to share. Paul, in the comments, mentioned that one thing I should do when I take on prisoners is to make sure I'm aware of their ideologies. So some of these guys, like Bowman, for instance, has Noceo-Rhadism. Noceo-Rhadism has pain is virtue, which means that these guys don't actually really care if they sleep on beds or not. Comfort is ignored, rough living is welcome. So in the future, when I'm taking on prisoners, I'll try to be aware of their own ideologies, so I don't have to naturally cater to their needs if they don't need them. Because of course, Bauman doesn't need comfort. The goal of this episode is pretty simple. It is to try to develop our ideology fully. And for that, we're going to need at least a positive ritual or two. My plan is simple: to convert and enslave all of these guys, every single one, and then once I have every single one converted and enslaved, to re-imprison the last one that converts and execute them, for a possibility of getting some beautiful development points from an execution. And then it will also have the added benefit of immediately suppressing everybody in attendance who is enslaved. I can also try to trigger some of the other rituals that I have. So once I have more of these guys enslaved, I can also trigger discovery lanterns, because the more people that attend that ritual, the better chance of success. So maybe even before the public execution, I will have a full colony of 10 do a discovery lanterns. The other goal that I have for myself is to be able to add some additional turrets to my defense. I have a quest here for a Yorkie that I need to guard for a day, but 33 mechs are going to show up to try to kill me. Even with 5 champions under my roof, I don't know if my current defenses will hold up against that really at all. So let's get started. And while I start, I want to cover one other piece of feedback I received from YouTube comments. And this one is from X7. So X7 mentions that because we have pain is virtue ideology for our colony, I don't really need chairs for the research bench. The purpose of these armchairs here is only for wealth and impressiveness. So I knew that making armchairs for the dining room would help to make the dining room more impressive. But what I failed to remember was that someone like Sven doesn't really care if there's a comfortable chair at his research bench or not. He believes that pain is a virtue, so I'm going to pull it out, even at the cost of dropping the impressiveness of his bedroom from somewhat impressive to slightly. I'm going to prioritize trying to make the dining room as nice as I can. And we're getting close to that goal. Now, instead of Bunny attempting to go to more ancient dangers for advanced components, this episode, I think what I'm going to have her do is spend a lot of time mining. Our steel is dismal. I cannot stress that enough. We basically have no steel in our little colony, and I'm going to want to steal myself so that I can make things like the fabrication bench or the vents or whatever. Another thing I'm going to need to work on is additional slave collars and slave body straps. I'm actually going to only make 4 because one of these guys isn't going to need one. So I guess that means make 3. So let's make 3 of them. So the slave body straps we will make of bird skin. Actually, no, let's do plain leather. And the slave collars we'll make of bird skin, lizard skin, or plain leather. I don't care what the ingredient is. I'd also like to make some of the authority caps. I'm going to make 2 authority caps for us as well as the even higher priority. And the authority caps is going to allow us to suppress these prisoners a little bit better. And I'm going to put the authority caps on Bunny and Sven. Then for the remainder, Trustin and Zaleb, our new couple, they are going to take bowler hats. Make them also out of the heavy fur that we just managed to get. Now, as far as quests go, I also have some other outstanding quests. I have the Worshipful Village, but it doesn't really make sense to go to the Worshipful Village right now with such a major slave population. The risk is that if I go to the Worshipful Village, we could have a slave or prison uprising, which would be terrible for us. So I'm going to avoid doing that. Another thing I'd like to do is to make a somewhat more permanent sort of slave barracks here. So before I start to do the tailoring, no, actually, I don't know what to work on first. Yeah, I'll do the barracks first. This is a slave barracks that I'm eventually going to make out of all stone and floor it up as well. And then once the slave barracks is good, I will work on the tailoring. We're also soon going to run out of potatoes. So this top field here, I'm going to set as potatoes instead of fiber corn, as I'd rather feed myself than have a little extra wood. And then this here can stay as cloth. I guess that's fine. Bunny, once she's done recreating, will probably head to go mine, which will be useful. One thing I'd like to mine for once I have a healthy amount of steel is I'd also like to mine for compacted machinery so I can make some additional turrets. Even if the turrets aren't made out of tough materials like uranium or steel, I still think that it's going to be vitally important for me to have a lot of turrets so that I can really put bullets down range when raiders come knocking on my doors. So here's the authority caps. One thing I'm going to do is to set up a new outfit. So let's go do that right now. We'll call this authority cap. Authority cap is going to be any headgear, or just the authority cap rather, and anything else. Make sure that it's not tattered, and make sure that it's not tainted. Sven and Bunny are going to be set to the authority cap, and everybody else is going to be set to anything that is not the authority cap. That way, my 2 wardens who also do the suppression are going to be the ones wearing the authority caps. And here we have our first slave, or rather our third, slave number 3. We're going to set them up with proper work priorities, zoning, and clothing, and medicine. And this is exactly why I've started to tailor. And a bedding, I suppose, as well. There's the bowler hats that we're going to wear as well. Now, my conversion ritual is on a long cooldown, so I'm not really worried about trying to get Bauman converted anytime soon. There's the clothing that we wanted. I'm just going to force some of it on his head already. And now we're working on the slave straps. Bunny is over to mine. One thing I'm going to do for Bunny right now is to reduce her priority for wardening so that she doesn't keep zipping between mining and wardening back and forth, She just focuses on one, which should be really good. I really want the potatoes, so I'm going to highly prioritize sowing. As you can see, these guys are just... They just can't help but to mess with the cotton fields. That's okay. Alright, so Sven has his authority cap. And I'm going to dye it his favorite color. And I'm going to do this with everybody else's clothing as well. Everybody will be dyed their favorites. Another thing that I still have outstanding... Well, except for Celeb. Celeb is going to dye it the ideology color. The trio will get their favorites. And here's Gegout, yet another slave. This will be slave number 4. And Gegout looks like he will mine. So I'm going to set him up as higher mining and lower growing and plant cutting. He's going to need slave zoning and clothing. And we're still making the straps and collars, so it's going to be a minute. Let's haul in some steel to help with that. And even maybe expand the zone that we hold the steel in. Which brings me to another thing. My stockroom looks like this because I don't want anyone storing anything on the soft sand, so we don't track soft sand around the base. But I have this weird diamond-shaped thing here because I don't have a roof over the center, because I don't have pillars close enough to the center, which is not a problem, because I'm going to put non-perishable valuables here, like silver, jade, and gold. And that way, I don't need a roof over the silver, jade, and gold. I can just, because it won't decay, I can just go ahead and leave the center part unroofed. We don't have extreme temperatures here, so the fact that it's unroofed is not that much of a problem. Now with this new slave, I'm lacking a bed, so let's go ahead and set a bed up for slave 4. Slave 4 is helping Bunny mine away some steel. It looks like trust in getting those slave body straps made for us. Bowman just converted, so now Bowman is going to be enslaved next. So Houston should be enslaved at the next chance we talk, and then Bowman will be enslaved eventually. Bowman looks to me like is going to be the sacrificed one, being the slowest. So all the straps are done. Slave 4 is coming back for a strap. And now we're doing slave collars. After the slave collars, it looks to me like I am going to be... Let me move these dusters up. I'm going to suspend these dusters temporarily, but our clothing normally takes precedence over slave clothing. But I'm going to set them up with some slave bodywear. So it's up to 5, I think. No, because we have 2 people that already have it. So 3 or 4. And we'll make this out of cloth. Not a very valuable material, purposefully. So slave 4 now has a collar and strap and won't lose any suppression. And we have cargo pods way up here for synthread. I don't usually care for synthread, but I might as well haul it in to make a buck. And this will be set up as a slave bed. Now, one of the beautiful things is because our ideology doesn't care about rough living or anything like that, sleeping on the floor, not a problem. Not a problem at all. So if I fail to provide bedding in time, they won't really bat an eye at that. So this will be the slave sort of prison complex thing that I got going on that Trusted will finish up in a minute. And then we made a little bit of progress mining up the steel. A bulkage trader flying overhead. Oh, Sven, you're up. They have animals I don't really care about. They've got 2 advanced components that I could hypothetically buy. If I could afford. And that would save me a bit of a trip. Yeah, I'm going to try to buy it. I'm going to be able to afford it. I'm excited about that. I'm going to sell my Growling Seed. Don't need it. I'm going to sell one of the Soothers. I don't need 2. I don't think. I hope not. Sell some of the tattered clothing to try to make a buck. And it looks like we're good. Now, is there anything I'm parting with that I probably want to keep? Nah, we're good. So we have our advanced components. We didn't even have to go Ancient Danger raiding for them. Not to say that I won't Ancient Danger raid anymore, but I don't know. I'm somewhat excited about being able to fabricate. So slave collars are now made. So it looks like I have got... I don't see a spare collar, though. And here is a hidden installation mission. They will shuttle me, but I'm not going to do that with such a significant slave population in my colony. So here is my last slave, Slave 5. And Slave 5 is really good at mining and plants, which is going to be very exciting. The reason why, I will show you. I am going to plant Devil Strand with Slave 5. Wow. Awesome. Get some Devil Strand. So, Slave 5, I might keep you longer than the other guys. I don't know if you're going to be a full-time forever slave, but I'm eager to have you join us. You're also a Night Owl, so let me schedule you on Night Owl accordingly. All right. So there's the... Oh, yeah, there's the collar. The horns shouldn't be in here, I don't think. Let me double check. Yeah. Weapon proximity, really high. The Thrumbo horns do count as weapons, so the Rumbo horns gotta come out of there. So this is the weapons stockpile, and this is the trade stockpile. Thrumbo horns no longer. Let's have Trustin haul those out, because otherwise we run the risk of rebellion every time a slave goes in there to do anything. Not good, in other words. We also have a slave that is getting hypothermic, which means, yeah, I need to get the tribal wear and maybe even toques. It's only 42 degrees Fahrenheit. That's not that cold. I mean, it's above freezing. So we can try to fix that. Another thing I'm going to need is yet another bed. So, Mr. Trustin, I'm going to have you come in here and expand this building a little bit. And set up one more slab bed. Bowman here, as I mentioned, will be briefly added to our ideology and then summarily executed after doing one ritual. Oh, a bed of that quality definitely deserves to be part of a trio's bedroom. So I will fix that in just a moment. The quality, of course, is the rest effectiveness. So anything higher should definitely go to a trio. So there, Bunny. Now, as a rest effectiveness of 125, opposed to an excellent of 114. A big boost, a big jump. Our development points are now at 10. Enslaving Bowmen will hit 11. And then all I need is one positive ritual to hit 12 to further develop our ideology, which I'm very eager to do. I'm going to have slave 4 come back in and become less hypothermic. We now have all the slaveware made, and this guy doesn't need it because he's going to be executed. So, for the lantern ritual, we already know about one ancient complex, so I can't know about a second. However, if it's a good ritual, we can still get development points. So I'm waiting for Bowman to become enslaved for the full participation bonus. And that way we maximize our chances for success. But chances are 9 would work. I would just be disappointed if I jumped the gun with 9 and 10 was the determining factor of success. So the remaining guys I have, let me go ahead and toque them up. But I'm going to toque them up after I make the dusters. I think dusters are more important for us. But then eventually we'll get toques for the rest. So we need 4 toques. And we'll make these out of cloth when cloth is available from the farm. So here comes the dusters. So the trio are always going to wear their favorite colors, whereas everybody else... Actually, don't dye that. Well, it's, I guess, too late now. Well, can I reset? Yeah, I can just reset it. I don't care about that parka she's wearing. And I don't want it to become dyed. Not that dye's expensive, but just unnecessary to dye clothing that I don't intend to wear. Because Trustin is working on dusters that are going to be far better anyway. And I guess I have 1 spare tribal wear. Oh well. Not a big deal. Now the slave clothing doesn't allow for tattered, but let's also not allow for tainted. I don't necessarily need them upset. It's easier to manage them if they're happy. Ooh, an excellent duster. And Sven wears it. And then Sven dyes it. Having the slaves help with the farming and the mining and, you know, some of the sort of basic labor tasks. Really nice, I gotta say. Really nice. Getting a lot of work done in a short period of time. So next up is to enslave Bowman, run the Discovery Lanterns, imprison him, and then execute him. Because, of course, we can't execute him if he's a slave. We have to re-imprison. Oh, look at all that lovely Devil Strand getting sewn. With all the lovely Devil Strand getting sewn, another thing that I should probably consider is to fully wall up my farm at some point. Because the Devil Strand can come under attack by animals and boomlopes blowing up on it and stuff like that. Things we want to avoid. All right, Bowman is now enslaved. So, our development points are now 11 out of 12. And let's go trigger a lantern. Now, in order to trigger the lantern for maximum effect, one of the things I might want to do first is to... Oh man, I forgot I left those out so long. Let me grab those real quick with Bunny. One of the things I want to do is to make sure I have enough wood for everybody to use a lantern. So, I'm going to have Bunny come on out here. Grab these psychoid leaves that would make for good tea. And then load pockets up full of wood. We'll need 40 wood for the lantern. Bowman, I don't care what Bowman wears. I'm not even going to let Bowman take a slave name. Just leave him with what he has. Before I execute him, I'm definitely going to strip him so it doesn't ruin anything. So where's the wood that's been out here this whole time? Alright, I guess I'll just select it by hand, cut down cacti. I'll need a little bit more wood. I think 40 is what we need for the lantern. Oh yeah, here's 24 of it. So Bunny, I'm going to temporarily assign plant cutting just to get a little bit more. So I can caravan it home. This is probably the most efficient way to add wood to the colony, is to run around with someone who's capable of plant cutting and, you know, just cut down the cacti and bring it home. Eventually I'll have a tree farm or something like that, but I'm not quite there yet. Okay, so we have enough wood for the lantern ceremony. We'll kick that off in just a second. And the dusters are done. There's the last one. Zleb should be wearing it any second now. There we go. And although it looks white, let's make sure it's the correct color of white. Yep, it wasn't. Alright, Bunny, I didn't actually want you caravanning away, so let me fix that before you get too far. And let's drop the cyclid leaves off in the kitchen, just for ease. Okay, so at this point, we are going to have everybody convene. And what I like to do for some rituals that are quick, like the lantern ceremony, is have everyone sort of drafted and attend in one spot so that they can quickly trigger their ceremony. That way, no one's left out. And then we'll begin the discovery lanterns. Everybody grabs a little bit of wood and builds lanterns. Hopefully I get a development point for this, which will allow me to reform my ideology and add a new meme. And if I don't, then maybe Bowman gets executed and I get it that way instead. Oh, Lord. Slave 2 just flirted with Bunny and Bunny said, yeah. Okay, maybe an audible. We're going to execute Slave 2. So, Slave 2, and you are going to be sacrificed. Now, Bunny's not going to like it, but I'm not having relationships with slaves. Maybe that should be added as a rule. If pain is virtue, killing your loved one is very virtuous, is it not? Okay. It was beautiful. I have friendly visitors that were attracted by my sky lanterns. They will visit and leave a gift, and then it was enough to reform our ideology, which I will do in just a second. Let me remove this. So, for sacrificed, Slave 2. Let's get you work priorities because, well, you just get to stick around a little bit longer because you didn't flirt, so good for you. Assigning the zoning, and then assigning the drugs and clothing. And then, Bunny, I'm going to have you arrest your new lover. Actually, before I arrest them... Oh, they're already arrested. I was going to have them strip, but we'll do it this way. Strip them, and then everybody come into the throne room, or the ritual room, and begin a public execution. So one of the big benefits of... who's not attending? Oh, no, we're good. Yeah, everyone's attending. One of the big benefits of a public execution is all of the slaves here that do not have maximum suppression are about to get maximum suppressed. Watching someone get executed is an immediate 100% suppression. And it was satisfying, and wasn't good enough to... It wasn't good enough to push our development points any further. You need, like, the next tier up from satisfying, but hey, it's a start. So, my lover sacrificed, died. Yep, he sure did. And then you ripped out the skull yourself. I'm sorry, Bunny. Had to be done. So then the remaining slaves here, if you take a look, fully suppressed. And it's going to be very, very easy to prevent rebellions that way. So let's reform our ideology. Reforming ideologies, I still find to be a little bit buggy. It's going to remove some precepts, so I'm going to have to be careful about doing it. I might have to dev mode, but we'll see. We're going to reform and add a meme. The meme we're adding is human primacy. That was predetermined before the series started, the order in which I add them. And then it's going to remove pain, rough living, temperature, corpses, prime guardian. That's fine. I'll put them back. So let's add precepts. Add the temperature tough. We'll add rough living, because these are required by pain as virtue, but they got removed anyway. I don't know why. Pain idealized, we're adding back. All of the precepts that remain are not required by our ideology. As you can see, we can add them and then remove them. So that part's done. It also mentioned something about corpses. So corpses are no longer ugly. We don't care. And then scrolling down, our roles got removed. So we're going to add a shooting specialist back in called Prime Guardian. And then something new, a production specialist called Architect. So a production specialist is added because of human primacy, and it increases construction speed 50%, general labor speed 50%. It gives you +1 quality to crafting or construction, which is probably the most imbalanced thing about ideology by far. And you just need at least crafting 6 or construction 6, and then when you take it on, you aren't able to handle animals, cook, grow, mine, plant, cut, haul, or clean. And the rest of everything else is fine. Done. Human primacy is added, and as you can imagine, Trustin is going to become an architect role. That's going to be a little confusing, but an architect role pretty much immediately. So what I'm going to have him do is do a little role change. I will have Slave 1 attend for Barracks participants, right? Because you need 4 people to attend. The other slaves, I don't care what they do. And we'll kick this off. Oh, did I even... Hold on, let me cancel that. I'm going to make sure that I did the right role, because I've done that in the past. Trustin becoming Architect. Yes, that's what I want. Good. So now he is going to be able to make more reliably very, very, very high quality things. It's so imbalanced, but it's part of the ideology, and I'm going to use it as intended, but it's going to be crazy. Essentially what happens is everything that he makes excellent would then immediately become masterwork, and anything he makes masterwork would become immediately legendary. It means that he doesn't even need to be inspired to make legendary things, which is just mad, simply mad. But now he is an architect, so our trio all have 3 different roles, and Zleb here probably is going to become a Prime Guardian at some point, but I'm not going to pull the trigger yet because Prime Guardian does remove capabilities for a lot of things. So one of the immediate benefits that we're going to see here is... let me see if I can immediately exploit it a little bit. Trusted, go make a bed. It's a masterwork bed. I rest my case. Alright, so Trustin is going to go use this masterwork bed, obviously, because why wouldn't I? And we're going to slowly but dramatically increase the... Oops, wrong way. To increase the quality of everything in our colony. Oh man, I apparently can't do furniture. 1, 2, 3 turns. That was painful. And you sleep here with Zleb. Zleb and Trustin. There we go. Finally got that done. So he also has an ability called Production Command, And it doesn't help him, it helps the people around him. So at some point, I might add another architect. It would have to be a colonist that also has crafting skills, and that new architect would then be able to buff Trustin and Trustin buff it, or them. Making a little corpse pile. So one of the huge benefits of this, of course, is weapons that we make, going to be incredibly high quality. Armor that we make, incredibly high quality. All the furniture. I might try to rebuild the poker table, for instance, to try to get something better. Hey, we have a sacrificial flag for free. I'm sure, I'll install that. And everything he builds, everything he does is so much faster. So one of the benefits that we might want to invest in is some tool benches, so that his craft and construction speed, or craft speed for a tool bench, is ridiculous. But as you can see, he's flying through this. If you check the construction speed here, as you can see, architect plus 50%. Global work speed, because he's industrious, also is getting added, and now it's just obscene. Obscenely fast. I love it. So, it's one way to, if you're trying to pursue the Archonexus, it's one way to pursue the Archonexus quite easily, if you ask me. I'm actually going to hit work drive on him to be even more ridiculous. Because when you are human primacy, you can make things, you basically make everything amazingly well. And you're about to see how fast he constructs. Boom, fabricator done. In quite literally like a blink of an eye. And everything's going to be like that. It's quite exciting because it will dramatically accelerate the pace of the progress we make towards the Archonexus. As we're going to be able to craft just illustrious goods with relative ease. So first order business is definitely weapons. One of the benefits of human primacy is we'll be able to craft better SMGs and rifles and the like. So that's going to be really, really important to try to defend ourselves against the pikemen and other raiders that are coming. So let's do that. 3 heavy SMGs, maybe even a 4th. And that will be queued up. Get him started on that. It's a lot of materials, but now that we have a fabricator, worry not, we can afford it. And here it is. So production command, I'll hit it anyway, just to show you. It sends out a production command sort of aura, and then the people in the aura get construction and labor speed increased. It only really helps if people are near it. So one of the things that I could do is I could put the machining table like sort of close to where other people work, like this, to have it central. So when you're designing your workshops, it's helpful to have like sort of a central workshop so that production command can hit as many people as possible. So now I'm speeding up the speed at which they cook food. Speaking of food, we are just about out of fine meals, so I'm going to do fine and simple meals for our trio, or for our colonists. I'm not going to be able to afford good food for a bit. So that's exciting. Human primacy. The other things I ought to do is to try to get better beds for everybody. Oh, yep, so here's a Masterwork SMG. First one off the line. Up from excellent. And we just keep doing that. There's really no stopping us now from having just legendary quality stuff. Thanks to human primacy. Or just being able to build ridiculously large structures in a jiffy. Because now with his, he also has the work drive. Our work speed here is 185%, and then 520% construction speed. I mean, it's ridiculous. There's no other words for it. I'm going to add another chunk zone. So this is going to be chunks 3. And I'm going to start removing cover that incoming raiders can use. It's not that efficient to do it this way, but it also puts stones closer to where the stone cutting table is. So it's convenient as well. Well, that structure's done. And that is all the time I have. Thank you for watching episode 9 of the Archotechs Primacy. If you have any feedback, suggestions, tips, tricks, or anything like that, let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to chat with me in real time, Rhadamant.com has a link to Discord, as does the description section of this video. A special thank you to my Patreon patrons and Twitch subscribers for your support. And with that support, I'd like to also suggest that Trustin, one of the trio of this series, has a YouTube channel of his own, where he makes RimWorld content and content for games similar to RimWorld. A link to his channel can be found in the description. Thank you so very much for watching. I will catch you next episode. Farewell.